In this video, I'm looking at strategy and tactics number 239, and this is called Winged Horse, Vietnam 1965. And this game has basically one scenario in it that covers 1965 and part of 1966. Although in a later issue of S&T, I've forgotten which one at this moment, there were additional counters if you wanted to try to expand this game into the full war. It had the extra counters that would be needed and the order of battle and the entry times and reinforcements. And I believe there's a recommendation that you change the game from weekly turns to maybe monthly turns. All of that became obsolete because Miranda introduced another game in a later S&T, I think it was 281, that's a guess, called In Country, which covers scenarios covering the entire Vietnam War. It's much the similar game to Winged Horse, except it covers all of those additional bases. So as I mentioned, this game is like in weekly turns at the very beginning of the war. And what happens as you go through the game, there are two ways to obtain victory points. There are political victory points and there are military victory points. So in theory, what could easily happen is the free world player with the United States forces and the ARVN and the Anzacs and the Koreans can go in there and win a military victory in the game. Meanwhile, the North Vietnamese can win a political victory, winning the hearts and minds of the people, which would mean it would end in a draw if one force won one type of victory and the other one won the other. To really have a decisive victory, if you won both a political and military victory, that would be really worth counting. Or if you won a military victory and the other side didn't win any type of a victory, that might be an acceptable, more marginal victory. So that's how the game goes. It's kind of I go, you go. I think, like I said, the turns are weekly. And do I have the map scale here? I can't remember what the scale is. I know some of the units are divisions, brigades, regiments, and below. And I don't know why I think that the game is 25 miles per hex, but I think that it is. And so it's an operational game. And the communist units, generally speaking, are inverted so that you don't really know what they are. You have fog of war. But in the game, there are ways to reveal them. One of the ways is by using observation groups, which can drop on a stack, and then you can reveal them. And there are other ways to reveal units, too. There are some special rules in here for base camps. There are some rules in here for air cav, the U.S. 1st Air Cav. And so it operates out of a static area, but with all of the helicopter support and gunships, it can spread out and attack up to 6 hexes away without actually moving. So that's an interesting idea that's included here. There is a couple of riverine units that can operate exclusively on rivers, and there are air units for the free world to use at the cost of political will. And then there is a naval bombardment chip that can represent, if it's on the coast within range, the Navy can do a suppressive attack. So that's mainly what you have. It is I go, you go. And so it's the very basic concept that you would use in any other war game. There are no zones of control, but that fits very well in Vietnam because of the jungle and the terrain and the infiltration that was being done. So anyway, that's a little bit of an intro to this. I'm going to go down to the map and just show you some pictures that I took from a game. I'm just going to comment on some of what you see in the pictures. It's not entirely coherent like a turn-by-turn look, but it should be sufficient to get a little bit of an overview of what's in this game. Here we're taking a look in Vietnam around in 1965, and we have near the area of Pleiku. This first picture is showing the NVA 325th Division, which is a 6-strength unit there, attacking a base camp, Alpha. It's basically a battalion-sized unit that pretty much is only a defensive factor. So, I mean, this is a 6-to-1 attack. There's really not any advantage for the defensive position here. So, as you can predict, this won't go very well. This next photo that we're looking at is showing the area of the 3rd Corps assigned area near Saigon. And there's a lot of ARVN units here that are together launching an attack against base 359. And you have a Viet Cong regiment there as well. And there are a couple of units there, but they're fairly much surrounded. So this is, but the ARVN units are admittedly fairly weak. Here we have, in this next photo, basically a concentric attack happening here against the base Easy. Concentric attacks are good. In this case, we're dealing with a 3-to-1 attack, but we're on a major route. And in this game, the free world units benefit quite a bit by having a road to move on. Moving on to our next picture, we have an attack. Again, ARVN units are engaged near Bong San. This is in the 1st Corps area, and the 165th Communist Regiment is moving in here. Moving along, we're back in the 3rd Corps area here, and we have some ARVN units attacking the NVA's 32nd Regiment. This is a fairly strong attack. You see airborne units are involved here, the 2nd Airborne Brigade, and you also have the 4th Special Forces Regiment, as well as some other units. And at the very top, there is a unit that you see that is suppressed with that suppressed marker on it. So this is somewhat how this area, there's a lot of activity in the 3rd Corps area. Also, off to the side is, you see an Anzac regiment over there, as well as United States 173rd Airborne Brigade. As we continue on, you can, this next picture is right on the Cambodian border. And again, we have ARVN units that are attacking the NVA. Here we have a suppressed NVA 7th Regiment that is under attack by this 2 stacks of ARVN units, which includes a Marine unit and a Special Forces unit. One of the interesting units in this game is the U.S. 1st Air Cavalry, and this picture is showing some activity near Bong San. And the 1st Air Cav is that powerful division there. That division can be broken down into brigades, but it operates off a base, and it actually doesn't really move, but it projects its strength out against the enemy up to 6 hexes away. And of course it can take damage, but presumably it's flying in on its attacks and then picking up troops and going back. So the U.S. 9th Marine Regiment is occupying the communist base number 226 here in this picture. We also have, though, the 1st Air Cav that can actually project its powerful combat strength, even against the 274th if it wanted to. One other thing, an advantage that the 1st Cav gets when it is involved in an attack, it can do an enveloping attack as if it was attacking from concentric sides, presumably because of its air mobility. In this next picture, there's a lot going on here. We're near Pleiku, and you see some the the NVA's 325th Division, the 4th and 5th Regiments also are wanting to launch an attack on Pleco. And I'm using an optional rule here with the Viet Cong sappers, which are able to, I place them right on top of the Pleiku unit. And I have the, here I have the ARVN's 1st Armored Cav, as well as the ARVN 2nd Ranger Group at this base. Also, the NVA has attack supply available, which you can see I'm moving in to be able to use it in this attack. This picture shows the effectiveness of the 1st Cav. I have the whole division as one component, but you can see it can participate from in the lower left, the lower right part of the picture, all the way up to attack the 271th Regiment, along with the ARVN 21st. So this is a very powerful unit, and I don't think that the 271 is going to fare well here. Something else that the Free World player gets is air power. The communist player doesn't have any air power in this game. And there are 2 types here, tactical and strategic. And the strategic unit can join in an attack along with tactical, but there's a lot more tactical units. And of course, these can suppress the enemy units, making it a little bit easier to attack them. But in addition, the problem is using air power, you can do collateral damage, which gives political points to the communist player, which you don't want to do, because you don't want to win a military victory and then have the communist player win a political victory, because now that would make it a draw. But here I have a raft of air units going in to attack, I believe, the Laos 304th Division. You'll notice here in this next picture that some of the American air units are coming off the naval carrier base. Others are U.S. Marine Corps units. But this effectively suppresses the 304th NVA division. The Free World also has these observation group units. This happens to be the Delta Studies and Observations Group, and they can perform missions basically once per turn. And I believe in this game the turn is about a week's worth of time, but they can go atop of a communist stack, and then that stack has to be revealed exactly what's in it. So what I've revealed here is I've got the 274th Regiment, as well as, the garrison at Communist Point 226. And so that was revealed by the Delta. Now I can decide if I want to attack it or not. Anyway, that gives you a little bit of a look at the game, some of the in-game photos. This, as you would expect with a Vietnam game, is a slog, and it seems like you're doing a lot of futile efforts and making small gains and then losing them immediately. And each year you decide to stay in the war, you're going to see more of the same. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.